coming to you live from Plug Hit Studios in beautiful Largo, Florida. We are keeping you plugged in with episode 266 of F5 Live, refreshing technology.
This week, Best Buy loses its employees, Dig loses its value, and Sony loses the concept of new console. Say Nick.
Nick.
Oh, look at that.
I was practicing all week. Spot on. I was ready for it.
You were prepared for the first time possibly ever.
I know, right?
And you got it right, which is...
Well, you know, that's all that matters. That's
Indeed. That and the smell.
Yeah.
The smell matters.
Even though Sony's lost concept of new console, we don't lose sight or scent of the new tech smell. Because, Scott, I think this show right here.
This one here?
This one right here is part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. I'm Nick.
And I'm Scott.
And we're here.
We are. I see us.
Hey!
I see us in lots of places.
Look at that. Well, at least two, right? Three. Oh, I like your perspective thinking, sir. Wherever you all may be and however you may be accessing our show, whether it be Facebook, iTunes, Zune, F5Live.tv, or any of our streaming services, thanks for making us part of your day. But of course, there is one place you can get all of our content as it happens the minute it gets posted to our show site. And that's by going to F5Live.tv, clicking the subscribe buttons over on the right-hand side. Audio, video, social, and special events all there for you right now.
Right now.
Now that's, of course, for our recorded listener, the ones who aren't listening live. They get studio quality version. They get the access to subscribe. We post the show Sunday night. They get it Monday morning. All is good, right?
Exactly.
However, there is a good thing for listening live. There is an incentive.
What's that?
You can chat with us live in the studio every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time by going to f5live.tv/join us. And stay tuned. This is something the recorded listeners cannot and will not hear nor see. That's the epic award-winning, spine-chilling, bone-tingling post-plug. Post-plug. For 10 minutes after the show, chat with us off the record in the studio. We want to talk to our fans. For right now, listen to us talk.
Not our ceiling fans.
No.
Or oscillating fans.
It's a whole different thing.
Different kind of fan.
What's up, man?
The sky.
Every time. See, you got this too. You've been practicing. I get it.
Yeah, I've been practicing that one for well over a decade. That one's not a problem for me.
Hey, did you get a haircut? No, I got them all cut.
Ask a stupid question.
Don't be that guy. What else is going on? Not too much, actually. We're just kind of trucking through the routine of our life, I suppose, right?
A 22-hour programming session this week.
You did. You had that.
A little
That's good.
out of the ordinary.
Just by about 4 hours.
Well, yeah, that's, it was definitely a very long night. See, I left here at 8:40 Wednesday morning and got home at just before 7 a.m. Thursday morning.
That's good. That is dedication. Right there is what that is.
Yes, it is.
Did you enjoy yourself, though?
No.
No?
No.
Why not?
You know why.
You don't like sitting in a chair at a computer at 4 computer screens for 22 hours? Why not?
It's only 3.
I'm sorry.
I only have 3 there.
And a really big whiteboard. That's eye strain, sir.
It's a pretty small whiteboard compared to what we want.
You know, you are just the optimist in all of this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Listen, we have a lot of show tonight.
We do.
A lot of show that we want to get to. The online editorial director for Laptop Magazine, picking that name up, Avram Pilch, will be on the show tonight around 9:30. If you're listening live, so that's about 30 minutes into the show.
Give
We
or
run
take.
about an hour. We try. And then Scott talks too much, then we run over. No, that's not what happens. Avram talks too much. No, we have a lot of shows. So we're going to get it started. We have an interesting information tonight regarding a lot of different companies that aren't really surprising with what they're doing. So let's get into it.
I'm
right
still
now.
enjoying the Avram.
Talking too much?
Yeah,
He
that's
can't do
fine.
anything about it just yet.
It's true.
He agrees. He said true. See, it all works out. Let's do this thing. This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is proudly powered by Riff Tracks. Scott.
Inception. Make it funny. The guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000 are back and doing what they do best, making fun of movies. This time, real movies and not the B or C movies that sci-fi could pay for.
Or Q.
From time to time, they do still riff B and C level movies like Brainiac,
Because it's funny.
which looks painful. And of course, they do their live shows. We have Thursday, August 16th, Monos, The Hands of Fate. In a theater near you, 300 screens nationwide, something like that.
It's a lot of screens.
It is. About half of them live, about half of them on tape delay, which is
Digital delay.
interesting. Left Coast is delayed. It's okay. You wouldn't really want to be there at 5 in the afternoon to see it anyway, so
You'd have to leave at like 1.
if you're in LA for sure.
Exactly.
So you can get all of the information about the recorded and live events by going to our website, f5live.tv, and clicking the link,
In the center.
period.
I paused for dramatic effect. That's what I did there.
I believe they call that a pregnant pause.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Really? Is that what they call it?
Yes.
Oh.
I have no idea why. I know.
I want to know the etymology of that word.
Yeah, me too.
Is that right? Did I say that one right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would too.
Can you dig it?
Oh, that was bad.
I should have played the Shaft song. I'm sorry. Can you dig it?
Hit the button and let's
Sure.
talk about this.
All right, let's do this.
So, everybody has heard of Dig. They've been around for seemingly ever. One of the original social networking sites, share news stories. If you've been to our website at any time, there's been a dig button at the bottom of every article. They've been losing some traction.
You think?
Maybe relevance is the more important word, as their little button keeps going further and further to the right on our articles. They have lost users at an alarming rate, a rate that only Sony wouldn't recognize as a problem. I had to get a dig in there. It's funny because that's
I like
their name.
what you did there.
Anyway,
That's good.
So they sold themselves the remaining assets of the corporation this week for $500,000. Now, to put this into perspective, the woman who was on the school bus in New York, who was called names by a group of 13-year-old boys,
It's up to like 650, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're up there now.
got over $600,000 in a Indiegogo project.
Only took like a month.
Yeah.
They've been in business for 63 years and can only sell themselves for $500,000.
Yeah, and they
All right.
only got 500,000. Now, it's for the remaining assets. The remaining assets at this point are merely the domain, the code, the data, and the traffic rankings. That's all that's left. They have already sold the employees, which is impressive.
I thought that was called slavery.
See, me too. They sold the staff to the Washington Post. Be curious to see what happens with a team of social networking guys at the Washington Post.
Insert corny joke with dig and a post.
Oh, El Terrible.
Right?
And they also sold their patent portfolio to LinkedIn,
Right.
which is fascinating. The most notable of their patents is the click to upvote patent. The fact that exists is proof that our patent system is is borked.
Page down.
Yeah, I am aware. So all in, it ended up valuing the company at $16.5 million.
Still less
Than half.
crap space.
Still less than half of the last time MySpace was sold.
Right. That's sad. I'm almost upset because it's Dig. It's something we grew up, and when you first saw it, you're like, "What is this?"
I don't understand.
And then you would get like a link to the dig of whatever you were trying to find,
Right.
And not understand how to get to the thing you were trying to find.
Yep.
And as a kid, I was like, "Oh, I don't get it anymore." Now I understand it, and I guess it's too late.
They managed to figure out their market perfectly. In fact, that's the problem, is they never did quite understand their market. They were the first there, and therefore had relevance. But we know the first one there isn't always the winner, Rim. And sometimes you end up out of business.
Right.
And
This
that's
is the
kind
case.
of what has happened here. Now, there is a company, BetaWorks, who did purchase the domain, the data, the code, the traffic rankings, but we don't know what they intend to do with it. The only thing we know is that they asked for licensing to the patents that are involved in the code. And that was an agreement that went in. So they will have licensing to all the patents that make the code usable from LinkedIn. And the corporation, founded by former G4 host Kevin Rose, is gone.
I shed a tear and reflect.
It really is like a big thing, because Dig has been around, I mean, seemingly longer than MySpace
Forever,
or anything
yeah.
else. And because it was founded by Kevin Rose, it had that place for nerds.
Just naturally, yeah.
He has spoken a little bit since it happened. In one interview in particular, he said, you know, we didn't know quite where we were and where we fit in. Facebook and Twitter started doing what we were better than us.
Right.
And we had no idea how to get traffic back. So at some point, we started doing things that were outside of our DNA, outside of who we were, and that ended up pissing off the last of the people who were still using the network. So we went through a whole big rebranding and a rewrite of the system. We dumped MySQL and instead went with another open source garbage platform. Good job. Rewrote the site basically from scratch, relaunched, and nothing worked. Congratulations to their QA department. If Wall Street Journal or whoever it is, that wasn't it. Washington Post. If the Washington Post doesn't want you, I know a company that would be interested in people who can't test. So
Just like that, huh?
oh yeah.
Okay.
So they launched Broken.
Stop that, by the way.
They launched Broken. The last of the people were gone, and obviously here we are.
Sold to the Post. Good.
And LinkedIn and BetaWorks.
Everywhere. I don't know. It's sad, unfortunate, but I guess a necessity. I mean, when you lose relevance, this is what happens.
Indeed. It's what has happened to MySpace a half a dozen times over the last 4 or 5 years, from News Corp to Timberlake, which is funny since he was in the Facebook movie.
And soon, Facebook will go the same route as we talked about.
You know,
We'll have to see.
it does happen to all the social networks, and if you need proof of it, here you go.
Isn't Friendster still around, though?
Friendster has already been through at least one purchase.
That's
So,
true.
They are MySpace. They keep changing hands. So, no.
But they haven't been picked apart like Dig.
That's true. MySpace and Friendster
They move as a whole.
have moved mostly. I mean, the staff doesn't tend to stay when you make a big move like that, because
Because it's not slavery.
who knows what the next company is going to be. But then Facebook buys companies and people stay, so whatever. Don't understand.
There are more selling off, job cut type things to talk about in a partially new segment, which we'll get into right now. Hey, this week's Nifty Gifties. Hey, they are nifty.
They're nifty gifties.
Proudly powered by SMS Audio. You know, it's only fitting that the niftiest, giftiest thing on the market is the new Sync by 50 Silver Obsidian wireless headphones. Over-ear wireless headphones for the first time ever. 16-bit lossless digital sound broadcasting to your ear holes without the need of that stupid cable in the way. As a person who does audio.
Yes, and you don't even need multiple receivers for multiple people. We could sit here with transmitters.
Right.
We could sit here with one transmitter and both have wireless headphones.
Up to four, actually.
four.
Can actually do that. So
Equip the full studio.
bring your music with you anywhere and ditch the wires with Sync by 50 wireless headphones. Lossless audio for crystal clear wireless sound up to 50 feet away.
It's awesome.
Isn't that great? And you can hook up the transmitter to any audio source that you wish. So, get your Sync by 50 brand new silver obsidian color. You be the judge and tell me if you think they look better than anything you've seen before by going to f5live.tv and clicking that link.
In the center.
You know, Sync by 50 is a reason that SMS Audio won't go out of business.
At least not anytime soon.
No, definitely not.
Somebody else has to outdo them first.
Right.
So far, nobody has, but everybody seems to be outdoing Best Buy.
You know, you hit it right on the head. We talked about this a year ago. Did that hurt, by the way?
No.
Stop it. A year ago.
I hit it on the head.
I know you did. Best Buy announced that they were shrinking their store footprints. They'd be moving to Best Buy mobile locations. We talked about this at length.
And we've seen it a lot. In this market in particular, we've seen Best Buy mobiles going
Six
everywhere.
or seven in a 12-mile radius. It's crazy. So we knew that that wasn't just them shifting their focus.
No.
We knew that was a cost-cutting measure.
No kidding.
It's a lot cheaper to hire 3 people in a smaller store than 57 in a large store.
Yes. The bonus is that the Best Buy mobile stores don't have the same brand as the Best Buy, which is the gym sock smell.
Indeed, that's good. It's good. Unless the ones that have moved into an EB Games, but that's a whole other thing.
That's not quite a gym sock smell.
Confunk the same, though. So we knew that workforce cuts would be just imminent. They were the next thing on the list, right?
Boy, the stores are going to get smaller. We're going to need less people.
They said no.
There's a surprise.
We knew that to be a lie. So Best Buy will be cutting 2,400 jobs, 1.5% of their positions. And that will happen now. Starting now. Right now, today.
1.5% of their workforce.
Wrap your head around that number.
That's a lot. That's, well, they're shrinking their storefronts 18%, so it's not a...
Even ratio?
Right.
Yeah. So it's not going to happen, though, like with Radio Shack or with Circuit City. 6 months down the line, during the job cuts, we'll start cutting people. Today. They have by August 1st to cut all 2,400 people. That's 2 weeks.
Wow. So you were informed this morning. Happy Sunday.
You got an email when you came into work. 2,400 people won't be working for the Blue Box anymore. 600 Geek Squad employees and 1,800 other jobs in stores.
Boy, it seems like that would be the other way around.
You would think so.
Considering that Geek Squad has been a massive drain on their resources.
Yes. In both promotion, inconsistency, and incompetency. It all works out.
Yeah.
So by August 1st, all of those people will be gone. No more black ties for them. Best Buy will be giving them severance and employee assistance. So that's good. I mean, there's a positive to all of this, right?
Sure. Let's say that.
We all expected this. Now, as a measure to kind of fix the cost cutting and restructure the way Geek Squad is such a drain, we're going to see Best Buy put Geek Squad members in booths in the middle of stores to attempt to fix common issues, kind of like how we see the Genius Bar operate in both style and incompetency. So it works out.
Sure. Now,
Both places have booths. Both places can't fix things.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Best Buy already has or is in the process of installing Genius Bars
Isn't that the best part?
in their stores for the Apple side of the product.
Correct.
Okay.
So there'll be 2 Genius Bars. Hopefully they'll be right across from each other.
Hopefully they'll be on opposite ends of the store.
Oh, staring at each other, going, you got a Windows Phone, come this way. You got an Apple phone, come over here.
I'd be throwing Windows phones over at the Apple guys. Like holy water. Does it burn?
So we found out also, though, that it's not the Geek Squad in-store people getting fired. It's just their like tech off-site, go to a house, fix it people. That will also save them costs on vehicle maintenance and all of that, too. So that is an obvious thing.
Yeah.
But 600 of those, it's a good number.
It's a round number.
It is. It's very round.
It has 2 zeros in it.
Good job. And a curve that looks like a 0. It all works out. So this...
Little 0 with a tail.
Yeah.
Or a hat.
Feather. Stop it. I'm trying to talk here. No. The interesting thing here is we opened up this conversation when Circuit City closed 3 years ago. Customers coming into a store.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. Customers coming into a store, looking and trying out their product, and then going online to Amazon and buying it, going online to Tiger Direct, wherever you may be, and buying the product at the Microsoft Store, F5Live.tv. Had to fit it into the segment somewhere, right? So that's the thing. Now, the flip of that is if you put actually smart, intelligent people into those jobs, or at least semi-intelligent people into those jobs, you would be able to close a sale and sell it there. Now, Radio Shack shrunk and is doing relatively okay.
Right.
They're not doing bad. They've grown in this district.
They're certainly doing better overall than Best Buy is.
And they put competent people in place. Circuit City had the opposite effect. They did a job cut and a pay decrease.
Yeah, they fired their top earners, which when you're on commission are the people who know what they're doing.
But they were making too much.
Good move, guys.
And that created the downward cycle. Now, Best Buy did the same thing. They just took a pay decrease when they shrunk the footprint. So that's what's happening here is more and more people just don't care. Now, if you go into a store, you won't find anybody that is willing to help you. And that kind of has the issue here, too.
Or even if they are willing, they're not able.
That's part of it. But those people are okay. At least they try to find the answer for you.
Sure.
You're more inclined to buy from someone who's willing to help you, even if they don't know what they're doing.
I'm not, but I can understand how somebody would.
You are a rarity. You are a non-normal circumstance. You are the top end of the curve. You are the person everyone got mad at in math class because there was a curve and you got 100%. That is the problem.
That's probable. I didn't like anybody in my math classes, so...
Didn't much matter.
I'm okay with that.
But that's the thing. So it was interesting. A forum poster shared the same sentiment I had when writing this article, and they said, Best Buy is slowly going the way of Circuit City. The company thought because it's the only tech store in town that it can breeze by. However, online purchasing and mismanagement has hurt Best Buy more than anything. It won't be long before the company starts rapidly downsizing. We called it, we said 4 to 5 years after Circuit City.
Right.
We're coming up on that number real quick here.
They're in the same... Like, they've been making the same decisions that Circuit City did. They're just about 3.5 years behind.
Right.
So
it's all the same. So while I understand that it may be difficult now to try out a product because there won't be any big box stores left except like CompUSA, and that's only in Florida, relatively. You have Fry's, and that's about it. This is for the better. You can't put people who don't want to work in a store and expect them to perform. You just can't.
Right.
And Avram mentioned CompUSA is really Tiger Direct. We experienced that when we were in Miami.
Indeed we did.
A couple of our boys tried to go pick up something at Radio Shack and ended up in the Tiger Direct corporate office
It was pretty impressive.
Don't know how that happened.
Walked into a conference room before they realized they were in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it happens.
Haven't had quite the brightest employees over the years.
You notice they're not here, so that all works out. Alante. No, not Alante. It's my Alante joke for the week. Every week I'll make fun of him. No. So, I'm okay with this overall. I'd rather see more and more Best Buy people go away. Totally okay with that.
My favorite thing when I was working at Radio Shack was messing with the Best Buy people. We'd have people call in and be like, "Hey, I need a DVD rewinder," because somebody is messing with them. So what you do is, anybody who works in any kind of electronics retail that gets these kind of questions, use this. It's great. You tell them, "I'm sorry, we're all out of them, but I know Best Buy's got them. Call and ask for Chris." I guarantee somebody's name is Chris that's working at that moment.
Just naturally.
It's just the way it works. And they'll call, and this poor Chris will keep getting these calls asking for the same stupid product.
It's the best thing ever.
Chris and Dave and Mark are three of your kind of safe names to go with. I always used Chris. I would imagine that anybody named Chris at our local store would have quit regularly.
Just on a revolving cycle. For some reason, we've done the numbers, and we can't seem to keep anybody named Chris more than a week. We just can't do it. I can't figure out why.
And they all get this same stupid phone call. I don't understand it. It's fun to mess with people. That's what I have to say about that.
It is fun to mess with people. Let's do that right now.
Mess with people?
Yeah.
It's that time again for the Pilch Point with Laptop Magazine online editorial director Avram Pilch, proudly powered by the Tech Podcast Network.
Get ready.
Avram, are you there?
Yes!
Ah!
My goal is to pump it up till I hurt you in the ear.
I always forget I have a volume control here. I should turn it down.
You can do that.
I forget about that.
It still doesn't help. He'll just yell louder.
And we've got the speaker in the other room, so we hear it anyway.
You still fail,
That's the goal.
blog.org. Avram, we missed you.
Missed you guys too.
It's good to have you back.
Yep, good to be back.
So let's talk. Let them know who you are, because we just had a myriad of new listeners in the week you've been gone. You must tell everybody who you are.
I am the online editorial director for the Still in Business Laptop Magazine. You can read all my columns at laptopmag.com/geeksgeek. Keep up with all of our news at laptopmag.com, and follow me on Twitter at @geekinchief.
Avram, let's talk about something that just peeved you a little bit before we get into the weekly list of things you like to provide to us, and that being the New York Times.
You would expect that a publication as old as the New York Times, and one that obviously focuses a lot of its resources on journalism, would get the facts right. But if you have read their personal tech channel lately, then you perhaps saw the July 11th story from a Sam Grobart that purports to be a laptop buying guide and to tell ordinary folks what they need to do to purchase a notebook. Only it contains such platitudes as, doesn't matter what processor you get, your battery life will always be bad, and most computers come with a 300 gigabyte SSD these days, which is just a fine amount of storage.
For under $500, I'm in for 7. Just to throw that out there.
I'm not sure if he meant that for under $500 you get the SSD, but if you get one, obviously it's 300 gigabytes. Little does he actually probably look at the marketplace and realize that it's very difficult to buy a PC with an SSD that's over 256, although very easy on the third-party market to upgrade to that. But point being, the life is not that simple. Your PC, your notebook is not that simple, and it's kind of surprising that a place as detail-oriented as the New York Times would say things like, it doesn't matter what graphics card you have, or presumably whether you have a discrete graphics or an integrated graphics then. Obviously, these things matter a lot depending on what you want to do. If you're someone who, look, you just want a cheap second computer, then maybe spending $500 and getting something with a modest processor like an Intel Core i3 will do you. But there's no for if you're doing serious work, you're going to need more than that. And even if you're not doing serious work, you will suffer when you get one of these, really low cost Pentium or Celeron processors, or one of the really low cost AMD processors, something that that brings you down to the $300-400 mark at Best Buy, will definitely give you weak performance. These things matter. Your screen resolution matters. Your storage matters. The specs matter. Performance matters. So, it's just really strange to see this kind of oversimplification. If they were looking for attention, they got it. But if they were looking to enlighten people, they didn't do their job.
And with things like Best Buy closing, people are going to be looking more to the reputable online publications such as laptopmag.com, and they look to, say, the New York Times to get that information. If they're not getting it accurately, it's only going to lead to angry customers at the end. So I guess what we're saying is you just need to tune into two things only that you should be reading and watching. It's our show and your publication, Avram.
Yeah, obviously there's nothing else. But beyond those things, it's just really important to research your purchase when you're buying a notebook. This is an important purchase, whether you're spending $500 or $2,000. It's an important purchase because the average person is not replacing their PC more than maybe once every 3-4 years. Some are delaying it even further because they found that the computer they bought 3 years ago is still pretty good. And so if you're going to do that, you really should make the right decision and get something that you're going to be happy with for that period of time. And, that takes a little bit of research.
It does.
But that's the best things in life always do.
Right. And you mentioned that, PC buying is a thing. Laptop buying is a thing. I believe people are still going online. They're searching. They're going to Best Buy. They're reading the New York Times and trying to get information on a personal computer. Are they not? They still matter, right?
They do. I think this week we heard a number of things that kind of imply that the PC is dying, and nothing could be further from the truth. So there was a Gartner report out that said in Q2 PC shipments were basically flat. They dropped 0.1%. And so people are seizing on that. And then they're also seizing on the comments from Microsoft, which actually say PCs are very much alive, where a Microsoft representative said that we're in the PC Plus era, not the post-PC era, as Apple would have you believe. The problem there is, obviously, a lot of people are looking at the tablet sales numbers and seeing that tablet sales are predicted to outpace notebook sales and other PC sales, and they're saying, "Oh, the PC, it's dying." But nothing could be further from the truth. The reality is that there is this fascination with mobile devices right now, a legitimate one, because it's not a mature market. So you look at tablets and you say, well, a lot of people still don't have one yet, so they're going to go out and buy one. What your PC is really competing with is not just other new PCs and tablets. It's competing with older PCs. If you've got a good computer that's 3 years old, you might say, I don't feel really compelled to upgrade. That doesn't mean your PC is not the center of your digital life. So sales numbers don't tell you everything. There's a lot of reasons why the PC still is incredibly important. For one, local storage and local processing power are important. I feel like, William Wallace, when he said, they can take our start menus, but they'll never take our freedom. You have freedom when you have a PC because you don't need to rely on a cloud service. Yes, cloud services are going to be very important. They continue to be very important. But when the first PCs came out, they were a reaction to mainframes. You could suddenly do all this processing without relying on anybody else's computer, and people are still going to need local processing power until the day when everybody's on super duper internet and nothing ever goes down and you have connectivity everywhere. You're going to need local processing power. It's going to continue to trump the power of the cloud, both for processing and for storage. you also have a lot of diversity in the PC. So while the traditional desktop and maybe even the clamshell notebook may not be exciting people as much as they were, you have all these new form factors coming around. Things like the IdeaPad Yoga that flips into like a tent shape, or things like the Asus Tai Chi that has a screen on the back of the lid. So you have a lot of diversity in this field. The diversity is only growing. There are only more choices coming. And you have a device that is also in the PC. You're best for multitasking and productivity still. I defy anyone to try and write their doctoral dissertation on an iPad with a Bluetooth keyboard or with the virtual keyboard. I mean, I'm sure someone's doing it. But for most of us, having the easy ability to multitask that you get with an operating system like Windows, having the full large screen, the full keyboard, the upgradability of your computer, the compatibility with this whole universe of peripherals, that matters a lot.
My guess is the only person writing their doctoral thesis on an iPad is somebody whose thesis is on how terrible it is to use a tablet.
And they're doing it at Starbucks.
Well, I think that's required.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing that is just patently obvious, but maybe not to people who aren't developers, is I dare anybody to try to program something on a mobile device. I don't think that it's even physically possible to do on any mobile device to actually program for that device.
Windows Phone.
On Windows Phone, you can program a Windows Phone, but it's probably not as exciting or easy to do as it is to whip out your dual screen setup on your PC and try to program for it.
I posed this question to Scott. That 22-hour coding session, would you have done it on your touchpad?
No.
Done.
Exactly. And would you do, would you try to code an Android app or an iPhone app on those devices? You can't. So I think that obviously developers are just a small chunk of the marketplace, but it really shows that even the people who are building these mobile ecosystems realize that you need local processing power, you need the ergonomics of a computer, and if anything is threatening the PC, it's going to be devices that are really could be called PCs in their own right. Really large scale Android computers with screens, or people taking something like Windows and moving it onto a tablet where it's really still a PC when you have something like Microsoft Surface. People need that full-fledged experience, and they're going to continue to.
And it always drove me crazy, and I'm sitting there with the touchpad now. I want to upgrade it. I want to make it faster. I want to have a better processor, and I want to do things to it. I can't. I'm stuck with what I have. I can't ready boost the thing. That is also a big deal to a lot of people, is that if they want to upgrade, the PC is the best way to do that.
You'll be able to do that with the Surface.
And indeed, I can do that with the Surface.
You'll be able to ready boost that.
But again, with the Surface, you're using Windows 8 Pro on some of the models, even though they won't be out till after the OS comes out. But you can upgrade because it's a computer in tablet form.
Right.
Not a tablet in tablet form. That's the thing.
Exactly. You will pull my screwdriver from my cold, dead, static wrist-strapped hands.
Static wrist-strapped hands.
I think even in the age of Ultrabooks, where they're making it harder and harder to get in there and actually pull parts out and put parts in, you can still get in and make some basic changes to a notebook. And of course, as long as we continue to have motherboards and CPUs that are available over the counter, there will be people who continue to build desktop rigs. And that's one of the great pleasures of life, that even though it may be going extinct, I hope to share with my son, is really building something from the ground up that's yours. And that's what PCs are all about: freedom and flexibility. So I really hope that people will actually, I don't need to hope, people do see that. There's just a lot of buzz in the industry now about mobile and how PCs are dying and we're in the post-PC era, but that's hype. And a lot of it is hype that comes from Apple, too.
Indeed it is. We'll wrap our head around this for a second, Abram. Something you didn't mention in your top 8 reasons why the PC is still alive. And we get into the topic of gaming. And Zynga's CEO said this week that even they can't fully invest in mobile gaming because the market is so
Volatile.
that's the word I was trying to find. So volatile right now, and it can't really. There's no shift to mobile gaming strictly. And do you really want to play Battlefield 3 on a tablet? I mean, how would you control all of those things? You could not. And gaming is a real thing that is growing by the month, even though game sales were down over month this month, and people are making a big deal about it. The fact remains that it's still up 20% over last year. So gaming is growing, and I don't think a lot of people are trying to play that Halo 4 on a 7-inch tablet.
I like my race game on the
You do.
on the BlackBerry.
But would you play Left 4 Dead on it?
No.
And there we are.
What are you
No
gonna do,
question.
click on the
I think the
zombies?
only competition really for the
Zombie
PC in terms of gaming is still the console.
Indeed, you have yeah, exactly.
PC gaming is gaining ground again, though.
It is. It's crazy. I just watched the StarCraft World Championship online today.
You have more patience than I.
I only got to about 15 minutes before I turned it off.
Exactly. There's some good games out there for mobile, but there's no comparison, and I can't see there being a comparison for any time soon.
Definitely not. Avram, keep being a proponent and telling these people that they're absolutely crazy to, one, misinform the customer, and then two, lie that the PC doesn't matter, because it still does. We're using one with 2 screens and then a second one to run our show. I could never see doing that on a Sylvania $79 CVS tablet.
No kidding.
Ever.
Although it'd be hilarious to try.
You know what? CES, we're going to try to run one of our shows from a tablet that you have to bring with you.
Okay. I will bring one, but it'll probably be a tablet with PC-like powers, but maybe a Surface or something.
We will give it a shot. Avram, let everyone know how to get a hold of you one more time.
So you can read my weekly columns at laptopmag.com/geeksgeek, read all of our news and reviews at laptopmag.com, and follow me on Twitter at @geekinchief.
Avram, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Great. See you then.
Always a pleasure.
Always. I don't know how to transition into this anymore.
Something we always do.
Is like ourselves
That's it.
on Facebook, iTunes, Zune, wherever else you can like things.
Definitely. Dig.
Oh, not so much anymore.
Friendster.
If you like us and you like what we do, let us do what we do best wherever you need it. Home, work, school, wherever you need live production services, Plugits Productions can be there. If you'd like more information about the company and the services that we can offer, you can contact us at contact@plughits.com. And that promo means it's time for Nick to take a couple of minutes and tell us about the news stories that missed the show in this week's Weekly Upstream.
Welcome.
Plugits Live presents the Upstream.
Thanks, Scott. Hey guys, this is Nick, and I'm here keeping you plugged into the top stories for the week of July 15th, 2012. This is your weekly Upstream. Last week, Facebook settled the score with Yahoo, which turned out to be the best thing for Yahoo. The company was able to cross-license patents Facebook acquired from Microsoft and also put Yahoo in a mutual advertising partnership with the social networking giant. Yahoo is continuing the run of good fortune as this week they've entered into a deal with Clear Channel. Yahoo will now be able to use the iHeartRadio platform as part of their music service. And Yahoo will also stream over 10 of Clear Channel's live events per year, including the iHeartRadio multi-day concert live from MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And the company will now be able to promote their own produced content to Clear Channel's 850 radio stations. Samsung has announced that they will launch a tablet with Microsoft's Windows RT software when the operating system hits the market later this year. Samsung has said that they've already created a device built on Windows' new ARM-based OS, and sources also said that the device should be available during launch week. The tablet will be run on a Qualcomm Snapdragon chip and looks to be Samsung's attempt to get into any market they can. Considering the success they've had with Galaxy and Tab series of devices they've manufactured for Android, it seems as if the company is looking to capitalize on their name recognition in order to have the Windows RT tablet emerge from the sea of other tablets that are out there. Have you ever wondered where our tax dollars end up going? 3 years ago, the Air Force bought 2,200 PlayStation 3 consoles for the building of a supercomputer, costing them $118,000. If you think that's a lot, we have one better for you. This week, the United States Navy signed a 3-year business deal with Microsoft that is worth $700 million. This licensing contract deals with both the Navy and the Marines and will consolidate the existing agreements into one big deal that will have Microsoft delivering desktop and server software to our men in uniform and will be the, quote, first ever department-wide enterprise software licensing agreement. This is part of the Navy's plan to work on optimizing its IT department. In August, the Navy decided to begin cutting IT spending by over 25% in the next 5 years by shrinking data centers and other related operations. This deal should help optimize cost savings, with Microsoft being the direct supplier for everything they need. Hulu is bringing the first foreign language series to its platform. We'll talk about that more in this week's DRM Not Included. So for all these stories and more, keep yourself plugged into f5live.tv/theupstream all week long, or click that RSS button to follow the news as it happens on your phone, computer, or Windows RT Surface. I'm Nick, and we'll be back next week with more of the top stories from across the world. This has been your weekly Upstream.
Transfer complete. Goodbye.
This week's Extra Life section on F5 Live is proudly powered by Microsoft Store.
I won't do it.
Play games on your Xbox 360 console. That's right, the Microsoft Store has shifted to bigger, better, and the same things you can get before, except now the focus is on Xbox 360. Get live sports, HD movie shows, and more with Xbox Live. Do more with Xbox Live. Something you're excited about. Manga entertainment.
Indeed, it's finally available with all 6 things or whatever.
But it's growing available every day.
Let's hope.
All your media content, all your gaming content, all of your social content, and all of your engagement with your kids can be done on one console that lives in the living room of your family's house.
And they're running the student promotion again.
Can't beat it.
Buy a PC at $6.99 or more and get a free Xbox 360.
Or get $50 off that limited edition Star Wars Kinect Xbox 360. We love it, and you should too. So for students, small businesses, and developers, get your gaming and other related Xbox and Microsoft needs at the Microsoft Store by going to f5live.tv, clicking that link
in the center.
Get your game on. That feels good.
It's intriguing to me that they managed to even have avatars that are racially ambiguous.
Yes.
Just like
they're really good at that.
The actual people on their website. It's pretty impressive.
Speaking of things Microsoft, Sony.
So the Xbox's big competition, of course, is the PS3. We've discussed the future of both platforms, the Xbox 3 or whatever Microsoft may call it, and then the Orbis, which is what Sony is coming up with next. What we haven't discussed and haven't expected was a 3rd generation of the PS3.
That wasn't in our realm. We figured new console means new console overall.
And it might. The Orbis may still be a separate device that we'll see launched at E3 next year, but it may not be. Sony did make a big deal about the fact that the Orbis was not going to be download only, which would be difficult in an upgrade to an existing console. They also made mention that it would not be revealed at E3 this year, which could mean that it'll be revealed at E3 next year or at GDC or
anywhere else.
Tokyo Game Show. But what we do know, kind of, there's been no official announcement of it, but they have filed it with the FCC, and that's good enough for me. There is a 3rd generation of the PlayStation 3. Now, why would they be doing this? If Orbis is a new console, to be launched next year. There's less than a year left before the new hardware. Why would they slim down the existing device? Well, we know that the PS2 survived another 2 or so years after the PS3 came out.
And had a rehaul.
Because there was a massive price difference.
Right.
The PS2 took a huge price cut to sit below the Wii in price.
$149.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that means there could be another 2 or 3 years left in the PlayStation 3's lifespan. So it would make sense to reconsider what it's going to look like for the rest of its life. And if Orbis is a separate console, not this, and is going to be not the big behemoth that we have come to know as the PS3, it would make sense for this to slim down too, to not look ridiculous on a shelf next to the new console.
Right, you would have to.
So, all of that being said, the CECH 4000, which is double the current model, because the current model is the 2000. We're
Right.
going to skip right past the 3000. There's no announcement on it. There's no release date. All we know is Sony has filed it with the FCC, and it has been approved.
Right. And the other part of it is something we don't consider a lot, is places outside of the United States. And with that, the PlayStation 2 was launched in Brazil at launch date of the PlayStation 3.
It was after the launch date of the PS3.
Was it after?
Yes.
That could be the reason for the upgrade, too, is you're redoing the hardware to provide for third-party countries.
Surprisingly new markets.
Right. Like Brazil, who will get this 2 years after the PlayStation 4 hits market. It all makes sense from that standpoint.
Sure.
If you're making new hardware, everybody's going to get their hands on it, just not the people that, I don't know, matter. And I know that offends people, but it's true. If you're not getting it in Tokyo or here in the States, it doesn't much matter.
That's true.
As far as a console is concerned.
That is where Sony matters. What's really interesting is to see the photos of them side by side. It's available on the website, f5live.tv.
It's crazy.
The 4000 versus the original, it's like half the height
It reminds me of the little PS1
versus the
PlayStation.
Yes. It's pretty funny. The device, I love that the second generation got
Longer.
wider. That's
But
ridiculous.
thinner. It went, and it lost a third level. So it lost a level, went longer, and got thinner.
Yes. Like somebody stepped on it and it squished
Squished
out.
it out.
But this new one, I mean,
Comparatively, it does look nice.
it looks significantly sleeker than any of the previous models. And it doesn't have the weird white text on the top like the first one did.
Right. That was always strange, except during the gunmetal version of the Metal Gear Solid Edition. That made it look cool.
Where it was white text on a gunmetal thing and you didn't even know it was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the idea. So we'll see. Who knows? We could have this be E3 next year E3's thing, or see this at the holidays. With the FCC, you never know. There's no filing date of launch, only date of filing.
Right.
They don't care.
There's usually a 3 or 4 month gap between approval and launch of like wireless phones. So my guess is this is no different.
Right.
So we'll see.
Rounding out the show, this week's DRM, not included on F5 Live, is proudly powered by Sirius XM Satellite Radio.
Summertime and the listening's easy. Save $20 to $80 on radios for your summer road trip, backyard barbecue, or jogs through the park. Plus, free shipping on orders of $49.99 or more, and 65% off in the outlet.
The outlet is the place to be. All of your radios at crazy discounted prices, all for you. Now you go, okay, what's the catch? Honestly, there is no catch. Usually these radios come back because the customer got way too outsmarted to hook up the antenna to the top of their car. So they send them back and Sirius passes on the savings to you. So get your Sirius XM, any radio, any boombox, any accessory, all available for you at 65% off. And it counts with the free shipping as long as you spend $50. So the best radio on radio is available at our Plug Hits Live family, f5live.tv. Click on the link.
In the center.
Boom. Goes to Dynamite.
You're not allowed to talk anymore. Show complete. So since its original launch, Hulu has been known as the place for Americans to watch American programming. That has changed a little bit over the last couple of years. They've brought in a number of foreign language programs. We've got a whole series of Spanish programming, plus it's got more anime than manga. Which is a little frustrating. Just different ones. Hulu is expanding, however, and is adding its first exclusive foreign language program to the service. They did that this week. The show's name is Prisoners of War. The premise of the show is actually pretty interesting. It will be published in 10 parts. It is about two soldiers who have been in a prison camp for 17 years and their struggle to reintegrate with modern society. I can totally understand how that would be a difficult thing to do, especially now. Think about, where technology was 17 years ago. A smartphone and a tablet would be baffling. So, certainly sounds like an interesting watch. It won 9 Israeli Emmy Awards. It was the highest rated television drama. It's a big thing for Hulu to be getting, and the fact that companies outside the 3 that own the company, Fox, I guess News Corp, Disney, and Comcast, companies outside of that family are really recognizing the value of Hulu. And not just outside of that family, but outside of the country are recognizing the value of Hulu. So close to when we thought Hulu might go away or get bought by Yahoo or some crazy other thing.
Can I comment on that?
Absolutely.
Can I talk?
Yes.
You mentioned Yahoo. It's interesting. With the deals they've been making lately,
it would have been an appropriate
Yahoo's
partnership.
turnaround is all media-centric.
It's like AOL.
I didn't think about
It's doing the exact same thing AOL
They didn't get a
rebranded
deal with a
itself
terrestrial radio station.
as. You want to
Did they?
reconsider that?
Did they?
AOL Time Warner?
Oh, I didn't consider all that. True. They didn't stream iHeartRadio.
That's true. But they do still have access, despite the fact the companies have split, they do still have access to anything Time Warner. So
Yep.
there's that.
I forgot about that.
I know.
I try to forget about that is what happens.
Time Warner tries to forget about that.
But this is huge for Hulu. I like the fact that other continents,
Indeed.
let alone countries like Mexico, Canada, other continents on the other hemisphere are going, wow, we're getting crazy traffic for this kind of stuff. Okay, let's launch. Like, I'd watch it. The question is it in Israeli? I don't know what language. Jewish.
Nope.
What language do they speak?
Several.
Okay, is it in those several languages, or is it English, or is it subtitled?
It is foreign language programming.
So it's in foreign language.
Yes.
They need to give an option for a subtitle, because I would watch that. I would watch that.
It sounds interesting, doesn't it? I have not gone. I know that the first episode has already been published. It was published this week. I have not gone to try and watch it.
Because some shows have subtitles.
Indeed.
We've seen that on American programming.
And it would be great if this has that option, because this sounds like a great
A lot
concept.
more people would watch it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I want to do that. Not be a prisoner of
If
war.
if you're already on the website and you're interested in checking out the program, it's the source link for the article. for the Hulu article. Check it out, f5live.tv. I do not know exactly what the link is. It's hulu.com/ I don't know, prisoners of war. You know, there's no naming convention for their stuff. So go to our website, click on the link. It'll take you over there.
That one's not in the center.
It's not. It's at the bottom of the article.
There you go.
At the bottom.
That's our show.
It is.
Hey, look at that. 1 hour. Like we planned it.
Almost. Very similar to planning it.
That's our show. So we want to thank our very special friend, Avram Pilch, for bringing
Our very special friend, huh?
for bringing his
You hear that, Avram? You're our very special friend.
for bringing his what's the name? His AOC tablet to CES next year for us to run a show on. If it fails, send the hate mail to @GeekInChief on Twitter. How's that?
You got 5 months to be prepared, Avram, to figure out exactly which tablet will work.
I'm putting him to the test. You know I'm going to.
I am aware.
All right, guys. Make sure you're subscribed for everyone that's listening after Sunday at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. F5live.tv. Hit the subscribe buttons on the right-hand side. Audio, video, social, and special events. Right now, topping the charts in special events is the HP Discover event from Las Vegas, Nevada. From the wonderful people over at SDR News, Courtney Wallen and Andy McCaskey. Make sure you check out that stuff. Great content with HP and what they're doing. So, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Nick.
And I'm Scott.
We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, different show. Still Avram.
Channel 4.
Channel 4. We are on Channel 4. Any satellite, digital connection, analog connection, whatever it may be, tune in to Channel 4. And if we're not on there, write to your local cable or satellite company and ask them why. Why F5live.tv is not on Channel 4. Because I'm told we're on Channel 4. I can't verify this. So let us know so we don't have to.
That's not it.
Oh, stay tuned for the post plug. F5live.tv/join us. Chat with us off the record. Thank you for everyone in the chat room right now. We appreciate it. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace and chicken grease.
Ciao.
It's better than Channel 5.
Well, yeah. Feels like we're on the BBC a little bit. BBC